This video was made possible by Gamersgate.com. Download games anytime, anywhere. Skip it up and that up. Get your butt cheeks ready, boys and girls, because the rumor mill, the trolls, the fake articles are going to be aplenty about the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So your butt cheeks are going to take a pounding. Metaphorically, anyway. So according to Spanish website El Otro Lado, they have a picture of the PS4 being demoed, and they in the picture, I'll show it right now. There it is. You see the red line? They're calling it the red line of death. The machine, the PS4, I should say, overheated, and when it overheated, according to this website, it shows a red line of death. And they say when they took it out of the little cube, which I'm sure didn't have really good ventilation. As a matter of fact, you could see from the picture that I just showed it didn't have good ventilation. They said the system went back to normal, the red light turned blue, and it started playing the game again. So technically the system got hot. It didn't overheat. The components weren't damaged. If this picture is true, because Shuhei Yoshida later, someone asked him on Facebook about the red line of death that they saw in this picture, and he said it's not true. So could this be a Photoshop picture, and could Shuhei Yoshida be telling the truth? Yes. Could it have actually gotten very hot, the PS4 that is, and had the red light pop up to display that the system's getting very hot and you should find a way to cool it or turn it off? Could be that too. Either way, who gives a shit? And what I mean by who gives a shit, maybe I shouldn't have said that, is that I promise you, especially after what happened with the Xbox 360 last generation, and I said this in my previous video talking about those Xbox One rumors that came from an inside source, I promise you, especially with the way the economy is, they're not going to make a system that cooks itself to death. Because people won't tolerate it this generation because people don't have the money they had back in 2007, 2006. No one's going to, I promise you, first off, like I said with my previous video, a lot of people, except, enthusiasts like me, are going to buy one of the three consoles, or two of them at most. So if say someone buys an Xbox One and it cooks itself to death, they're not going to buy it again. Or if someone buys a PS4 and they actually get this red light of death and it actually means the console's dead, they're not going to buy another one. Or if one of the systems gets the reputation of being unstable, people are going to stay away from that system. People don't have the spending cash like they did a few years back, or disposable income, I should say. They're not going to risk their money on a console that could break on them in a year or two, or if they hear negative press about it, they're not going to invest in that console, and that could really hurt Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo. Now, the Wii U's been out for almost a year. I've owned it since launch, and I haven't had any overheating issues with it, so I think it's safe to say that this won't happen with the Wii U. But I think it's pretty safe to say, especially with the low-power chipsets both Sony and Microsoft are using, heat problems aren't going to be an issue. And when they put those game consoles in those display cases, I've seen it throughout the years at GameStop and other retailers. I've seen systems from all three of the big companies overheat or have issues because those cases aren't properly ventilated. Even when they have fans in them, they still get warm. Like if you go up and touch one of those display cases and there's a console in there, like your hand gets, I wouldn't say uncomfortably hot, but it gets pretty damn warm, meaning there's not proper ventilation in them. So take this with a grain of salt. It could be a Photoshop picture, and even if it was the red light of death, they already said they took, if this article is true, they said they took the console out, and when they took it out of its display case, the PS4 started working again because it cooled off. And two, it could totally not be true. It could be a Photoshop picture. So we're going to get even more rumors. I'm going to be talking about the rumors. The closer we get to the launch, the more shit's going to come out. So brace yourselves, folks. We have a long road ahead of us. Anyway, guys, make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting Review Tech USA. Have a good one. And yes, I know it's called the red light of death, not the red line of death.